welcome to the Weber Dojo. Today we're going to do a review of Heian Nidan. So for this kata, first of all, make sure that you've already done your warm-up, and this will be a review. So we're assuming that you already know the direction of Heian Nidan. We're just going to offer you some coaching points. So first of all, I'm going to go through the entire kata. I'm limited on space. You may be more limited in space. So we're going to just work on sections of the kata at a time, smaller sections. So let me go through the kata one time. Let's see how much I can fit in here. Heian Nidan. Okay, so now we'll break it down, just work on smaller sections. First off, the first stance is a back stance. If you notice, many of the Heian kata, we use a back stance first. So when you make a back stance, this leg, basically your weight stays where it is. This foot steps out as far as it will reach without moving your weight. So you want to make sure that when you move, you think down, here, down, your foot drives forward this way. So think this way. The pressure of bending your knees will allow you to put that foot out, okay? So your weight for your belt should drop straight down this way. For your arms, it's very basic when you first learn to come over to this side, then go up. However, once you understand the idea of what you're doing, then I recommend that you go ahead and make it one movement starting from here. So this is more of the blocking hand. This is just kamae. So what I want you to do, just in place, take just your left hand, and I want you to make blocking technique. 1, 2, 3. Now, try it with your support hand. 1, 2, 3. So you may notice that your blocking hand, the actual blocking hand, feels stronger than this supporting kamae hand. I will not talk about application a lot because I like to leave that to your discretion. Sometimes it is helpful to have an idea. So for instance, I'm thinking the attack comes from this side. All right, so if we put that together, bend your knees, your hands come up, same time. You want to make sure that this makes like a right angle here. This makes a right angle here, this way. Then the next move, the hand that's out, which is my left hand, you're going to switch positions. So my left hand is out, my right hand is close. So I'm going to switch them. My left hand works as a sweeping block. You go this direction. And then my right hand works as a striking technique. These aren't the technical terms. This is more of the idea, the application to help you get there. So this hand drops, drop your elbow, rotate your wrist completely. This hand protects your head as you come through, okay? It's not this way, it's this way. Make sure that your elbow is bent here, not straight out this way, not straight, obviously. Okay, so it's bent like a middle block would be bent. Here, move 2. Then for move 3, the contact surface is your front knuckles of your left hand. So you're going to switch your hands again. Your left hand's going to go farther. Your right hand's going to come close. So this hand is a punching direction this way. Let me use Bob. This way. This way. Not this way. Not kensui, not hammer fist strike. So it's difficult. This is a difficult move to drop your elbow so that your fist leads so that you can make a punch forward, right? But that's what the technique should be. So if we put those three together, each, knee, sun, okay? The next point that's important to notice is this is difficult for your hip position. So when you're here, your hip is this way. Then you want to rotate your shoulders. You want your hip to stay, this does make a slight motion, but you want to make sure that your back leg stays the same, in the same position. Don't allow it to buckle in towards the right arm. If you move more in your shoulders, making the technique with your shoulders is what you should feel. So usually what will happen is you want to think push back with your left shoulder, push out or stabilize with your right knee. Then you unwind to make the power of this punch as you pull this draw hand. Your hand should be pointing, the draw hand elbow should be pointing straight back. Okay, so then once you're here, you're going to switch to the other side. So when you switch to the other side, this hand comes this way. You do not have to bring it to this side and come out. Again, that would be a basic way to do it. So if you're just learning it, that may be a good way to start. If you know it, you want to try to be as efficient as possible. It does have to block and protect your face. Just bringing it up this way is not going to be correct. It does have to have some inward to outward motion to it. So here. Then, same thing on this side. Right hand will come and do a sweeping block. This hand is bent, or this elbow is bent, and then unwind. The next technique, move number 7, you make a half step with your left foot. This foot is helping you correct your distance in your balance. So you want to make sure that this foot, don't bring it across straight so that my toes are pointed forward. Easy for me to say. Make sure that you turn. So now I've got the outside edge. It just saves me a little bit of a step here. Now, this hand comes to your left hip. Your left hand stays as a draw hand. If you want to practice this, where I'm going to move directions. If you want to practice lifting your foot up for balance, I think that that is a valid reason to practice and slow the technique down. Once you understand the balance, I would like for you to make sure that you make this one motion in the kick. I don't want you stopping in the middle of the technique before you go on to the next move. So I prefer it to look this way, here, this one, okay? So bring your foot up off the floor, lift your knee up, and make the kick all in one motion. All right, so for this technique, for 7 and 8, this is move 7A, the foot. They break it up, if you look at Best Karate, they'll break it up into A and B because it means it's a point they don't want you to miss. Okay, so for this one, it's the step. So at the same time, I'll bring my hand in. Then for B, I'll make the kick and then make the transition to stance. So this is Yokogari Kyage, it's a side snap kick. This is a back fist technique. It comes out and back. So it's a snapping motion. So when you think about application, you do want to think about where the target is for your leg, for the kick, and for the arm. When I perform the kata, I will kick higher in Yokogari Kyage. Something that Sensei Golden has always liked to say, work on your flexibility. So always kick high. So that's what I still do. So from here, kick, back fist, kick. Then the foot, when you return the foot, drive it down to your position. So it should look like this, half step and down quickly. You don't want to let gravity bring you down to this next step because that changes your timing when you turn. So usually when you turn, it's a new opponent. So you don't want to be lagging, taking your time here to make the turn and the change of direction. So I will drive here, and put my foot down. So I want you to practice it that way. So you've got just your legs, half step, and down. Practice getting your foot down, making back stance. Okay, so with the hands, you can stand up. So with the hands, goes from here, back fist, here, then you change direction and make knife hand block. Okay, so when you start from here, 1, 2. Ready? 1, 2. Ready? 1, 2. Okay, so you're changing direction. So when you do that as a way then, because I'm pushing you to make your step quicker and land in your back stance quicker, there may be a way for you to blend these movements and try to make it one technique, or make it connect from one to the next. Okay, so like this here. Okay, so I want you to work with the coordination of your hands. All right, so let's put the technique together. 1, 2. Then in the next series of the kata, we step forward in kokutsudachi, make shutoke. And then just at the kiai point for number 11, we do a pressing block with the nukate. So when you make your pressing block, you can allow your wrist here or your hand to rise just a little bit so that the supporting part of your nukate, of your spear hand, is on your wrist, not on your hand. So you will often see the technique this way. Your elbow rests on your wrist this way. So from here, maybe you aren't thinking that this is going down, but maybe you're pushing the technique over this way, okay? This hand, the nukate hand, should come straight in. Sorry, let me go back to here. It should go straight as your body moves forward into the technique, okay? Don't have your support hand shouldn't be up underneath your armpit. It shouldn't be at your wrist. It should be at your elbow, okay? This is kiai point. Make sure your fingers are together, thumb in this way, not thumb out, okay? So the next part of the kata are the knife hand blocks that we use in Heian Shodan. So you should already have a pretty good feeling for those techniques, but let's just review them. So from here, from the nukate, you're going to bring your feet together, step out, 1. Brush your knees lightly, go off to the angle, 2. Bring your foot back, 3. And then step forward, 4. And then really easily just turn, make nukate, and you're ready to go again. Let's try again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it's easy when you're stepping into the knife hand blocks, like the ones at the angles, because you easily bend the knee, brush, and step. Okay, so the other techniques you may find a little more difficult. For instance, coming from this position. So if we don't use our hands, I don't know if you can hear me, I'm talking behind. I want you to turn, keep your weight here, step out. Okay, so let's not worry about our hands. Ready? 1, and step out. Okay, let's go back. Ready? 2. Weight stays, and step out. All right, let's try it again using your hands. 1, and step. Then for this next one, bend the knee, step. This technique, you should have your weight more on the ball of your foot in your back stance than your heel. So when you bring your foot back, I shouldn't see your toes coming up. If anything, your heel can come up here. Squeeze. Squeeze, change direction, and go. Then again, bend, and here. So then, once we're in that position, this next technique, inside-outside block. Here, inside-outside block. when you make this technique, don't bring your ready position of your uchiuke to come underneath your armpit. Think of it more at your belt. Okay, so from this technique, from the knife hand block, you would want your hand here. You want to reach over as far as you can, help get your elbow past, like to the middle of your body, not leaving it on this side. So here, then it makes this motion. It doesn't just lift up, it also makes a rotation this way. There is also reverse 45 hip. You want this hip feeling like it's leading towards this knee here this way. Then from here, you make front kick and step in. So for some reason, people have a difficult time making a quick kick here. So what I want you to do is let's practice the hip position. Let's not worry about our hands. I want you to lift your knee up and back, then kick. Then let's make the other hip position here, reverse 45. Knee up, back, then kick. Switch, kick with your right leg, 1, 2, 3. Twist, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you want to make sure then, so once we're in this position and you make your front kick, this is the kick and the punch is the same person. So you don't want it to come out 1, 2. You want to make sure that it's undefendable, the kick and the punch together for the same person. So kick fast, get your foot down, then punch. Now, this next technique. Your feet are in place. Maybe you've made a slightly longer stance than you wanted. So you have the ability to pull this foot back, shift it back. How that happens is by twisting your hip, make reverse 45, see if the foot moves. If it doesn't move, and you make reverse 45 hip, keep it there. If you're really extended, you can't make the technique for this uchiuke, then you're allowed to twist and allow that to pull the foot back. This is incorrect timing. Would be here. It has to happen because your hip makes the foot move, not your foot moves so that you can turn your hip, okay? So the motion has to start from your hip, not from the floor, not from the ground. So if we're back here, we do kick, punch. Then the next one here, now use your hip. Okay, pull back just a little bit. Same thing, kick, punch. Now, from here, you're going to do support block. Murota uke. This technique makes almost the same as the inside-outside block, but you don't have to bring your hand all the way back to here. Your left hand comes up to connect to your elbow, and then you push through, rotating your wrists at the same time. This is 45. Your hips are turned 45 direction. This is a block, just like a middle block. So it shouldn't be out here. That's a common thing to see is the hand down here needs to be bent. This is the blocking surface. So if we're beginner, you want as large of a blocking surface as you can. So the more shallow you make this, the less of a blocking surface you have. So make sure, keep this bent, okay? Let's try again. Ready? 1, 2. One more time. And 3. Now, when you touch here, you don't use your entire fist. If I use my entire fist against my hand, my elbow comes out here. I want this connection, so what I do is I squeeze my elbow, squeeze my armpit to my body, and that's going to pull the opening part of my fist this way, okay? So it should be here. You can see part of my knuckles on my left hand. Now, the next technique, you're going to turn make a down block. Now this one, you can't quite see when I'm here, but this one, if this is a normal front stance, it would be here. So make sure that when you land, this is a narrow front stance. Your heels are about in line this way. Your foot shouldn't be out this way. This way, make sure your hip is turned sideways, so 45-degree angle. Then you're going to move off to this angle, just like the last moves in hand shodan and the knife hand blocking positions that we just worked on. So you're going to bring your knees together, get your cover position for your rising block, step forward, make rising block. So this goes from here, goes to the angle. 1 and back. 2 and back. And 3 and back. All right, ready? Make it one move. Now, make the next technique, same thing. You're going to want to make sure that your stance is narrow here. And then next one is off to the angle. Bring your knees together. Your right hand is open as a preparatory position for your rising block. And block. Go back. 1, 2. Back. 1, 2. Back. 1, 2. Okay, then when you stand up, back leg stays where it is. Bend the back knee, recover here. So when you start the kata, bend. Stay down here for the entire kata. Then when you recover at the very end, then you come back up to natural stance. All right, feet together. And relax. So that's a brief review of Heian Nidan. Hopefully that's going to help you with your training. Maybe you've just recently learned it, or maybe you're going to pick up some pointers in this video that maybe you haven't heard before. And of course, you can apply these points to any other kata that have similar movement. All right, until next time.